Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain for You. So today's topic is going to be this, meaning ending your pain and symptoms can be as easy or as hard as you make it. So before I get into that, a couple of deep breaths. Feel the stress and the tension leave your body. Feel the fear and the worry leave your body. Breathe in the confidence and smiles. Let go of the anger. So this can be as easy or as hard as you make it. And I get to experience a lot of great comments and emails and wonderful interactions with the whole community. I also pay attention to a couple of the other TMS groups online. I get to see a lot of the questions and the challenges that people are having, which is why I keep on coming up with ideas. Probably about 440 something videos in a row, with no end of things to talk about. So this can be as easy or as hard as you make it. What do I mean by that? Many of the TMS folks, most of us, are highly intelligent. We're smart. We're perfectionistic. We're do-gooders. We're overachievers, overcommitted, and we tend to want to be as good as we can be for pretty much anything and everything we tackle. So initially we have this medical problem that's causing our pain or our symptoms, and we research and we see doctors and we undergo the treatment protocols, as best as we can, and we really try to let's get this handled. And then when we learn about TMS, we become equally obsessed with that. We read the books. We read all the books. We watch all the videos. And we study everything. And we start analyzing psychology and how the brain works and everything. And it can become very overwhelming very quickly. And we can overcomplicate things, One of the debates that I've had several times is, about, Sarno's theories about, hey, the pain is there because of these, the repressed emotions, these emotions in our unconscious. And if they're in our unconscious, how are we supposed to ever get them? And if we can't get them, how are we supposed to end the pain? Because if we can't get the emotions that caused the problem in the first place, then, how are we ever going to solve this? And to me, that's just thinking too much. It's really not that complicated. If we all had to find every single unconscious emotion that ever was accumulated into this thing called TMS and the symptoms that we've got now today, in this moment, we'd never get better. Nobody would ever get better. It's not that complicated. I'm really shifting a lot more of my focus towards, the brain's job, the purpose of pain, and really the fact that the brain, according to Sarno, it's just protecting us. It's trying to distract us from the emotions which it believes are dangerous. And so it becomes simple to me is, one, know that. Number two, decide your body is fine, because it is. And then it's really a matter of teaching the brain that these emotions are safe, and teaching the brain that you don't care about them, and you're going to shift your focus back to living your life, and teaching your brain that trust your body. It's okay, right? Essentially, TMS is danger signals raging out of control when in fact you're at the control panel and you get to flip the switch. Flip the one switch that says body's okay. Turn that danger signal off. The other switch is, emotions are okay. Turn that off. And then the switch that says stare at and be desperate to fix these symptoms all day. Flip that one off too, right? How about soothing? We're in the stress response all the time. We're chronically stressed. Then we wonder why we've got, gastrointestinal problems and immune problems, because we're constantly suppressing those two systems from too much stress. So let's go find that switch that goes, turn off the stress. That's easier to do when you actually know and have accurate information that your body's okay, and this is just all TMS. And so when you realize that you can turn down the fear, turn down the stress, know that your body's okay, soothe yourself often, create safety, be aware of safety. You don't have to create it, just notice it. Like, I'm safe. I am safe. And then you decide that because I know all of that, and I know that the emotions are fine and everything else, I'm going to shift my attention back towards living my life. This doesn't have to be overly complicated. This doesn't have to be overly difficult. But because we're so compelled to do this right, and I don't want to do it wrong, because if I do it wrong, I'm not going to get better. And so we put all this pressure on ourselves, and we heap all this pressure on to do it perfectly and do it fast, because boy, I don't want these symptoms for another day. And oftentimes in our eagerness to do this perfectly and do it right and do it fast, we really put too much pressure on ourselves. This becomes too important. The brain's not going to let go of something that you're clinging to so tightly. It's really not. Because the brain will keep wired those things it believes are the most significant to you. And if the thing that you're thinking about and focused on the most is the pain or the symptoms, you're telling the brain very clearly, this stuff is really significant. It's not going to let go. So the best way to let go of it is to let go of it. Stop clinging to it. Don't care about it. So don't overcomplicate it. You don't need to read 72 books on TMS and psychology and the inner workings of the id, the ego, the inner child, and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe any of that stuff's required. And it can just overcomplicate things. And yes, it does take some practice to convince our brain that we are truly safe. And many of us have spent the vast majority of our lives in the stress response, in fight or flight. And the world seems to be a dangerous place. And I'm not debating that. But what I am going to challenge you is that we can, with intention, make it a less dangerous place. And much of the danger, for many of us, is between our two ears, because we're constantly hyper vigilant and on high alert for anything that appears dangerous, and keeps the body and the nervous system on high alert, fight or flight. And it's really your job to calm down, soothe yourself, remind yourself that you're actually okay and that you're not in danger. And when you can convince your brain that you're not in danger, it's going to stop sending these pain signals. Because as I've said a number of times recently, the severity and intensity of the pain correlates directly with the amount of danger the brain perceives that you're in. And again, the purpose of pain is to stop you from being injured or damaged or hurt. And so you put your hand on the stove, you immediately pull it off. The pain is there. If you look at it, and it's blistering, pain's going to be a lot worse. If you look at it and go, ooh, that wasn't too bad, pain immediately drops. Because the brain perceives the amount of danger and gives you the correlating amount of pain. So don't overthink this. Simply, it's a matter of teaching the brain. Am I safe? Yes. Is my body okay? Yes. Absolutely yes. There's nothing to heal. Your body's already fine. And learn to feel your emotions. When I say learn, it's like anything. It's going to take a little bit of time to learn. If you're not good at it, don't convince yourself that this is so hard, I can't feel my emotions, or I'm terrified of my emotions, right? Anytime you tell yourself, I'm not going to be able to get better because X, Y, and Z, you're making it more difficult than it needs to be. I'm not saying this in a critical, judgy way. I'm saying this in a take a deep breath, relax, you're okay. You can do this. I know you can do it. I wouldn't be spending all these damn days shooting these videos and uploading them and answering all the comments if I didn't think you could get better. I'm 100% convinced you can get better, and if you're not confident, borrow my confidence. Please borrow my confidence. Because I know that once we teach the brain that your body is okay, your emotions are safe, basically, calm down, you're not broken. Relax, you're not broken. Smile, you're not broken. The brain will eventually get the message and say, ah, good, we're not in danger. We're not in danger from those scary, dark emotions anymore. They're actually safe. And the brain learned that because you've actually felt them and you're still okay. And once you decide firmly that all the evidence is there, that every symptom I've got is from TMS or too much stress or this distraction pain or mind-body syndrome or whatever you want to call it, and that the body's actually perfectly fine as it is, the brain goes, good. I don't have to protect you from movements. Don't have to protect you from social situations or emotions. I don't have to protect you, period, because you're already good. So it's really, 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 really not that complicated. So please don't overcomplicate it. Please don't look for reasons why this is not going to work. Look for reasons that it will. And again, that's why I keep shooting these videos and why I like talking about these same topics over and over again. Hopefully come at it from a different angle where it'll sink in and you'll kind of get it. But if you feel like this is really hard and you keep saying this is so hard, this is so hard, this is so hard, just remember, the brain's going to believe the things you think and say most often. So are the things you're thinking and saying most often helping you and convincing you that this is going to be all right, I can do this, it's not as complicated as I thought, I can do this? Or are your thoughts and your speech convincing you it's going to be so much more difficult? And look, I just had a conversation today with somebody, and she said, when I talk to my friends about my pain, X, Y, and Z, and she went on. And I said, well, there's part of the challenge. Why are you having conversations with your friends about your pain all the time? If it's not a big deal and your body's okay, and you know that if you not ignore it, but choose not to focus on it, and choose not to be afraid of it, and feel your emotions and soothe yourself, like, what's there to talk to your friends about? Other than being excited that, hey, I've found out some new information that it's really going to work for me. Done. Move on to another topic. If you're talking about your pain all day, you're telling the brain, this is important. So look, this is not as hard as you may make it out to be. It's really simple. Some of the steps are challenging, admittedly. I know that. But it's really not difficult or hard. And the more you can convince yourself and tell yourself that this is pretty easy and I can do this, the easier it will be. Your brain believes the things you think and say most often. So you may as well think, this is easy, I got this. I can get this right. So what do you guys think? Is this really that hard? Or are you thinking and saying things that are telling you it's hard? And I always like to joke, it's like, you're not broken, you just think you are. This isn't hard, you just think it is, right? And thinking tends to make things so. So if you think something's really hard, it may not be, you just think it is. Your body's not broken, you just think it is. I love that. Anyway, with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. I will see you guys and gals in the next one. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.